I'm so excited to get to talk to Kylie Hudgens today. Yes, Kylie is my niece, and I'm super proud of her. She is based in Chicago and is in advertising. So, without further ado, we'll jump right in. And Kylie, if you wouldn't mind just to start by sharing a little bit about your high school experience.
Yeah, it was so long ago. It's been about 13 years now. Yeah, so I graduated Marion High School in 2007. And while there, I was involved with various clubs throughout the years. I was on student council, I think 3 out of 4 of the years, maybe. And then I was also on the dance team all 4 years. So that took up a lot of time, but it was also a lot of fun.
Yeah, state champions, I'm sure.
Yeah, not my year. It's we
Oh,
we they
assumed.
started winning a couple years after my class graduated. So we
Gotcha.
got some new career.
Nonetheless, legendary, a legacy, the dance
Yeah,
team at Marion High School.
absolutely. I had some solos throughout the years, so it was great. And I would say that being on the dance team and the friendships I made and the experiences I had was probably one of my best memories from high school. We didn't just, perform at sports games and compete. We also did things like we would have an annual bonfire and hayride, and we got to go to St. Louis one year and have dance classes with some of the River City Rockettes. So that's something, it's an opportunity that doesn't come around often. So definitely miss those years.
For
But
sure. For sure. Well, so tell us about your journey from graduation. What has your career path looked like since
yeah,
then?
yeah. So after graduating, I ended up going to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So that was kind of a big jump from growing up in a small town, but honestly, I think it was a good decision. I made a lot of friends there and was exposed to a lot of different cultures and experiences that I had never really been around. And there, I studied advertising. I kind of knew right off the bat that's what I wanted to do. I really didn't understand the different pillars of advertising. So there's the business and marketing principles side of things and account. Then there's also the creative side of advertising. So after just taking a few basic advertising classes, I knew I wanted to be involved with the creative side. But at the time that I was a student, U of I, they had a really strong advertising program, but it was more in the business and marketing principles. So not really a lot of classes that would help me hone my creative skills. So because of that, once I graduated U of I ended up moving to Chicago and going to a portfolio school. So I like to say it's kind of like a graduate school for creatives and advertising.
Mhm.
But really it helps you gain conceptual skills and really helps you hone your craft. And I chose copywriting. So a lot of people don't really understand what copywriting is, and it's a lot to explain in a nutshell, but it has nothing to do with legal. It is more just creative writing. And so after I spent a year at portfolio school, I ended up getting an internship as a copywriter. And that was at a bigger agency here in Chicago. And I did that for about 3 months and then was hired on full time as a junior writer. And then since then, I've worked at 2 other agencies. One is my current agency, and I've worked my way up to a senior copywriter. So it's been about 7 years, but here I am. And yeah, now I'm more in shopper marketing. So it's a little different from advertising, where advertising is kind of more vague, I would say, and shopper marketing is more strategic. You really need to get to know your shoppers and understand where they are and what their wants and needs are, and then really understand the brands that you're working with and help kind of marry the two. And I work on the Clorox account. So a lot of people don't know they own obviously all the cleaning products, but they also own brands like Kingsford Charcoal, Burt's Bees, Hidden Valley Ranch, Fresh Step. I mean, they have 14 plus brands under their umbrella. So my day to day is just juggling all those different brands and helping tell their stories and helping solve whatever problems they have. And right now, with everything going on, Clorox cleaning products are, a short supply. So they're not really needing to advertise those products because they're flying off the shelves. So we're just thinking of going back through past work that we've already created and updating that language to be more COVID sensitive. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes on with my job.
So you are involved with the words that we might hear on an ad, the words that we would see in a print ad. You're helping target the message
Yeah,
that your clients want.
exactly. So I can quickly kind of explain the process of a project start to finish. So usually, we have a kickoff with our account team, and the account team is more or less the middleman between creatives and the clients. So they've chatted with the clients, they've gathered what is needed for a job, and then they kick the creatives off. And they're like, here's the problem, here's the objective, we need you to solve for that. So an example could be maybe Kingsford, say they have a new type of product. They're needing to launch this product and make people aware that it exists and make people know what the main benefits are and why they should want to buy it. So we could do a social ad. So I would write caption copy for a Facebook post or an Instagram post. We could send out e-blasts talking about the new product. We do a lot of shopper videos too, if it's something that needs to be broken down and simplified. We also create videos as well. So I would write the copy for that if there's a voiceover, or the supers, and supers are the text that appears on the screen as you're watching a video. So yeah, really I am the voice behind the brand, helping them get their story out there across a lot of different platforms. So
That's really neat. So obviously your day to day, you're working somewhat on your own, but then you definitely have to work collaboratively with your team members.
yeah, absolutely, especially with my art director. So normally any project, it's a copywriter and art director paired together, just to make sure that how an ad looks or how a social post looks aligns with the messaging. And yeah, so it's very much a collaborative effort. And then, at the end of the day, our creative director has to review this work and approve it before it goes out to the clients. And our account team has to review and approve. So definitely collaborative.
So on a day to day basis, not sheltering in place,
Mhm.
if you were in an office setting working, what does that look like for you? Is it like an open space where people are communicating while they're working, or what's a normal day like for you?
Yeah, it is very much an open space. Advertising is generally a more relaxed industry, especially for creatives. Not to sound bratty or anything, but sometimes you just sitting at a desk and staring at your computer, it's not inspiring, and so it helps to kind of get up and move around. And all of our shared working spaces are very much like your home living room. So we have like lounge chairs and couches. Our kitchen has a long table. The agency where I work is very much, they want to instill a family feeling. So that's why we have like the long tables and the lounge chairs and little group areas, just so we can kind of keep those creative juices flowing, if you will.
Oh,
But
yeah, I can see where that would be very important. What do you think are the skills that are important um, for someone to do well or perform well in this industry? And I also thought of another question I want to ask you about market research, but we'll
oh
go with
yeah,
that question first.
you definitely have to be able to just take every curveball thrown at you. You have to be able to expect those. Just be ready to go with the flow. Things are constantly changing, especially with clients. They could have a set of objectives on the brief that you solve for and present. And then during that call, when you're presenting, they could just change their mind. And so you just have to always be ready and on your toes. And also you need to be very detail oriented too. Clients pay a lot of money to have advertising go out into the world, and if there are typos, or if it's the wrong logo or something like that, it looks very bad for our brands and clients. And so it's really important to also be detail oriented. I would say those are probably the top two.
I imagine.
Yeah.
So circling back when you were talking about, working on your team, or knowing what your clients' targets and goals are, and knowing your shoppers. So do you work closely with market research teams who are sharing information about the demographics of the clients, customers, or, how does that work?
Yeah, for a lot of our brands, especially for cleaning, we already have a pretty established persona. Um, and so we have a planning team. So they're the ones that are doing all of the behind the scenes research and finding out who's buying what. We usually have a breakdown on our briefs of the target. So it'll give a little persona, it'll give an age range, household income, stuff like that can kind of help us wrap our heads around who we're talking to. And yeah, knowing your target is very important. It's kind of like, you don't want to show up at a party and start talking about something that, I don't know, is totally out of that group of people's like interests or whatnot. You don't want to be an awkward turtle, I guess. So you just really need to like know who you're talking to
Yeah.
and understand their needs.
Um, that is good to hear, because virtually every project I do in marketing, we talk about the target market and the customer profile, and just, you're not selling this to everyone. There's a very specific person in mind for most products in today's world. So that will be good for my marketing students to hear that and know that I'm not just making that up.
Yeah, and that's really a big difference between just advertising and shopper marketing. Advertising, because that's where my first job was, at an ad agency, and now I'm at shopper marketing. And when I was working at the ad agency, I feel like targets came into play less often. It was more just kind of writing these overarching headlines that were a little broader, or spoke to a broader audience, whereas shopper marketing, you really get to know your targets. And I just think it's a lot smarter that way.
Um, and obviously you don't have to share specific information. I don't want to encroach, but I feel like we talked once that you were doing something with figuring out, like, something with Alexa or the Echo or something, like, and how that tied into a product. Could you share
Yeah.
a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was a really fun, challenging project, just because I had never worked with um, I guess artificial intelligence before. And it was, yeah, so that was, I'm like having to think back. It was only a couple of years ago, but it seems like forever. But it was for Clorox cleaning products, and we wanted to develop this skill that would offer daily tips and tricks to make cleaning smarter, not harder, because sometimes the task of cleaning your whole home can be a little daunting. So basically, my role in that was to be the voice of Alexa, which was kind of fun, um,
Yeah.
and write these daily to-dos. So, somebody would say, Alexa, open, it was called Clorox Clean. So, Alexa, open Clorox Clean. And then you would be greeted with Alexa, and she would say, okay, today's to-do is clean out the refrigerator. And then she would give you a step-by-step guide on how to clean out the refrigerator. And they would all be like 5 to 15 minute tasks. So, but that, yeah, I wrote probably over 100 different daily tasks. And it exists out there. If anybody has Alexa, it's called Clorox Clean.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun because, I wanted to make these tasks fun. I wanted to put some humor into the writing, but as we all know, Alexa's very monotone. So when she would like deliver the jokes, they weren't as great as, like your average comedian would probably do. But it was still kind of funny to hear her just say straight
Yeah,
jokes.
it probably was funny even in her voice. So I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah.
Well, it's really neat to talk to someone in the industry. I can't wait to share this information with my students. We do a lot of projects in the kind of the what if realm, like pretend you are working for a client and they want XYZ. And so it's neat to talk to someone that actually has to kind of work through that creative process and then also work with the client. So this has been really good information. I have one final question for us. And that is, if you were to give advice to a junior or senior at Marion High School today, or if you could go back and talk to Kylie as a junior or senior in high school, what do you think is important for them to know?
I have three things. So I would say, really just get involved with extracurricular activities. It really shows that you're driven, disciplined, and you're able to commit to something. And it also shows that you can take on multiple responsibilities. So having these extracurricular activities in addition to your education, it's something that looks great on resumes. And yeah, anything going forward. And then another big thing is really just think long and hard about what you enjoy doing, what you're passionate about. And that can really help inspire what you want to do in your future. I always knew that I liked creative writing. So when I got into advertising, it just clicked. I knew that's what I wanted to do. When you get into the real world, you work 40 plus hours a week. So it is really important that you like what you do. And I'm sure you've heard it before that when you like what you do, it doesn't feel like a job. And I would say that that is 98% true. But yeah, just really, really think about what you enjoy doing and think about how that can transfer to some job out there. And then I would also say networking is huge. So you can never have enough people in your circle. Once you figure out what you might want to do, ask your parents if they have friends in that industry, people that you can start chatting with, because down the line you're going to need contacts to reach out to. And I wouldn't stop before college. Like once you get to college, I would continue networking, get close with your professors, because they're going to have a lot of people in their circle. So it's just something that's really smart. It's a little intimidating, but people who are experienced, like for the most part, like helping out and spreading their knowledge. So those are the top three things.
I think those are really good tips. Networking has continued to come up as being so important.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned and reinforced that. Thank you, Kylie, for
Yeah.
doing this today. Of course, I'm super proud of you. I'm not biased at all. I would be proud of you even if you weren't my niece. Um, and it's exciting to see you doing what you love and
Yeah.
also doing that with my students.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, for asking me to do this. Hopefully it was helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.